and we can think of applying these terms as the tools. Mainly I am going to focus on this postmodernism in literature. So many of you have the connection with literature. Directly or indirectly you have been reading literature, stories, novels, plays, poems and all these things. And you all may be knowing there are mainly two dominant ways or the methods of analyzing, interpreting or evaluating any piece of literature. So one mode is mainly focusing on the analysis or the interpretation or the evaluation of the literariness of a literary text. Literariness of a literary text. So when I say literariness of a literary text, it means here mainly the focus is on examining or exploring the aesthetic qualities. What makes a poem poem? What makes a poem a beautiful poem, a memorable, remarkable poem that remains for a long time in your mind? So sometimes that may be the extraordinary use of the language in the poem, the novel, and the drama. So maybe making you to be in love or to fall in love with the poem. So usually, before the 19th century, the focus in literature, when it comes to the criticism or the evaluation of literature, mainly the focus was on examining these literary qualities, that is the aesthetic qualities. So now after the 19th century, so there was a paradigm shift in the perspective or the approach or the method of analyzing the literature. So there emerged many perspectives, many theories. So postmodern is one such perspective. So we have to understand what postmodernism. Modernism is nothing but it is a perspective, as Professor Bellubbi sir has already pointed it out. So it is an approach. So we need not to be worried about this term postmodernism. Simply we have to assume that it is one of the approaches. So with which any discipline, it may be literature, sociology, economics, political science, so can be approached, can be interpreted. That is one of the approach we have. The postmodernism, like any ism, always we have to know that any ism is always consisting of some set of principles. It may be post-colonialism, Marxism, or postmodernism, modernism. All isms are the set of principles. And we are using those set of principles as the parameters to analyze, interpret. So that is what. So this postmodernism is also consisting of certain principles or the parameters. So we are using those parameters or the principles as the tools to analyze or understand the literature. So this is one. And the main the focus of this post-modernism, both the speakers have already touched upon this point. So they are expressing, the postmodernists are mainly expressing incredibility towards the meta-narratives. Dr. Karnatak has touched upon this one. So Dharwad has spoken about this, incredibility towards the meta-narratives. So at that point of time, a lot of meta-narratives, like grand narratives or canonical literatures were there. Many, like mainly. So this was mainly, as Bellubbi sir has pointed out, it is a kind of a resistance against the science. So science in the sense enlightenment project. So you all may be knowing that since the beginning of the 17th, we can say, or the end of the 18th century, so there was a project called Enlightenment Project. So that Enlightenment Project mainly focused on inculcating the scientific thinking, that focused on inculcating the scientific thinking, that the reasoning or the logical thinking. So why there was so much focus on this reasoning, scientific thinking? Because they thought that rationality or the scientific thinking could solve many of the social problems, they thought. So even now also society is not free from social evils, social problems. So in those days the number of social evils and the problems were more. So that is why some of the intellectuals, they thought that science could be panacea. So that means it could be Ramamana for many of the social problems and social evils. So that is why people went on encouraging, promoting, advocating, giving more importance to science. So that the trend of giving more importance to science, scientific thinking, rationality, all this went on until the World War. After the happening of the World War, intellectuals, scholars, they understood that science is not going to solve the problems. Science is not going to put an end to the social evils. It is going to put an end to us. So that's what the many people thought. So that is why. So there was the reverse. That's why. So many people started resisting against this science and the so-called the meta-narratives. So that is why this Lyotard. So he expressed incredulity towards the meta-narratives. So then there was some more developments which made people or which made scholars to express this incredulity towards the meta-narratives. So Michel Foucault, you might have heard of the philosopher. So he came out with the observation that there is a close connection between the knowledge and power and knowledge. There is a close connection between knowledge and power. And you can understand now, I am not going to delve deep into these things. So no literature or any discipline for that matter, any matter which is not innocent or which is not unmanipulated, you can say. Every piece of literature is a kind of a manipulation. So true representation, we cannot have the true representation. Always it is mediated. Truth is mediated. That means truth has undergone representation. There is the distortion of the representation. There is no real representation. That is what they thought. So that is why here they started expressing this incredulity. This is mainly Michel Foucault. He said that whoever is in power, they are going to produce the kind of literature. So that's why this is how he established his argument. So every piece of literature is always influenced. So he is influenced by mainly the people who are in power. So that is why. So what is to be inferred from this is that the nature of the literature is mainly decided by those who are in power. What we normally think that literature is free from all the external influences and external forces. It is free from all those influences. It is the representation, the true representation by the poet and writer. This is what we normally believe. But these writers have pointed out. No, it would be a foolishness on our part to think that it is the truthful record of the true representation. So it is not like that. So that is why there was the shift in analyzing the literature or interpreting literature. Now, so the more focus is on taking mainly the modern, postmodern, present scholars, theorists. So they have borrowed the insights from various sources, not just one source. From various sources, they have got the insights. It may be structuralism or it may be Marxism. So mainly here, so there is a saying that. So every theory is the theory within the theory. Every theory is the theory within the theory. So that means postmodernism is not an independent, isolated the theory. So it has postmodernism also has borrowed insights or got the insights from various sources. Then it has become a theory. Slightly it is different from the previous some of the theories. So there are reactions to this also. reactions to postmodernism is also there. So in this way, so postmodernism has borrowed ideas from the Marxism, then the sociology, political science, and all these. So now, my point here, earlier you may be knowing that earlier there were the English departments in the universities. So our department of English. So later on, you have started. You might have noticed that nowadays the departments in the universities are named as Department of Studies in English. Department of Studies in English. Then further, so there are many departments in some of the universities. Now English departments are now renamed as the Department of Cultural Studies. Department of Cultural Studies. So these changes in the naming the departments, changes in the naming the department itself is indicating so literature is not just depending upon one perspective or one mode of interpretation. So literature has also become now multidisciplinary in its approach. Literature has also borrowed various theories. So now the popular theory now is cultural studies and eco-criticism, post-humanism. So these are the present critical theories: post-humanism, eco-criticism, and cultural studies. So in these theories, we can find the combination of various theories. So in this way, so it has become multidisciplinary. And as sir has pointed out, so since absolute truth or the transcendental truth is not there, since truth is relative, so that can be understood by applying various theories. And then with the help of just one theory or one approach, we cannot have the complete understanding or a better understanding of a subject. So ultimately the objective of employing all these theories is that we can have a better understanding or the best understanding of the available literature. So that is the objective. So that is why we cannot say that this particular theory is the best, and by applying this theory or by following this approach, we can understand the literature better. That is not acceptable now. So it all depends upon the context. It all depends upon the nature of the text. So one text may demand the application of one theory. The nature of another text may demand the application of another theory. So in this way, so what we have to be judgmental. We have to be judicious in selecting the theory. And we cannot say that this one particular theory or ism is going to work well in all the situations. It is not like that. So it is again relative. With these few words, so I can say that I am very grateful to the organizers. So they have invited me and provided an opportunity to share in brief some of my the perceptions. And I think definitely a very fruitful and meaningful deliberations and discussions are going to be here in the afternoon. So a lot of technical sessions are there. I wish all of you to, I expect all of you to participate in these deliberations, discussions actively. So get insights and go back to your colleges. Try to make use of some of, at least if not all, some of the insights that you are going to get here, so that the organizing of this international conference is going to be a useful and a fruitful one. So with these words, so I thank everyone for listening to me patiently. Thank you.